If you've seen Back to the Future, you'll certainly remember the time when Marty McFly and Doc Emmett Brown take the DeLorean time machine to travel from the year 1985 to the year 2015. Anticipating that, we had already come up with a concept for the hoverboard, although it just floats a couple centimeters off the ground. I believe Nike also released self-tying shoes that cost lots of money. But what about cars? Sure, we didn't have any flying cars, but imagine if Marty and the Doc had seen this car cruising down the street. Wouldn't that have been amazing? With that, I welcome you to another episode of Imperial Diecast, and today we'll be reviewing this Scale 124 BMW i8 by Rastar. Now I'd like to begin this review by taking a closer look at the box that this car comes in. As you can see, this is not your run-of-the-mill Scale 124 model car box, but it actually has a couple more windows which allow it to be displayed without necessarily being put in a display cabinet. For example, we have a window over here, which allows you to basically take a look at the back of the car. And over here we have another window as well. Now, of course, it has the price tag on top of it, but I can remove that. On each side it says Rastar, and over here at the back it says BMW i8. This doesn't feel like a car from 2014. It feels like a car from 2034. The coolest thing about the BMW i8 is its looks, which give you the feeling that it's a concept car that actually went into production. Especially in this color, it looks like an alien spaceship. But if you think the production version looks exotic, you should have seen the Vision Efficient Dynamics concept that was first revealed in 2009, which looked so much more futuristic. Still, if you check the production BMW i8's reviews on YouTube, their owners tell you the car gets more attention on the street than almost any Lamborghini or Ferrari. The i8 is part of BMW's electric fleet codenamed Project I. The production version of the BMW i8 was unveiled at the 2013 Frankfurt Motor Show and released in mid-2014. This diecast model car has already been reviewed a couple times on YouTube, but so far all the reviews have been in Vietnamese, so I figured I'd review this car for all those English speakers out there. For budget diecast model car collectors, the BMW i8 had so far only been made available by Kinsmart in Scale 136, so I'm happy that Rastar made a Scale 124 version available to us now. The BMW i8 is not an all-electric car. It's an all-wheel drive hybrid that is powered by a 129 horsepower electric motor up front, driving the front wheels, and a tiny 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged 228 horsepower gasoline engine in the back, driving the rear wheels. Paired together, you get 357 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, with a top speed electronically limited to 250 km per hour, and capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 km per hour in 4.2 seconds. On electric power alone, the car can only travel up to 37 km, but at up to 120 km per hour. As a hybrid, however, the car has a range of over 500 km. I think that Rastar has made a solid replica of this car. It has its flaws, but it also has its pros, and in this review I'm going to be talking about both. So let's begin by taking a look at the front of the vehicle. You gotta admit that BMW really nailed the front of this vehicle. The headlights, the kidney grills, everything is in a great proportion with each other. The front end of the car looks futuristic, just like the rest, and they haven't gone overboard by any means. There are some concept BMWs out there that have giant grills and look completely out of whack, but in this one they kept the proportions really well. If we look at the headlights, one unfortunate thing about them is the fact that the xenon bulbs are not painted, which means that they actually remain invisible. However, the DRLs are highlighted in silver. Right underneath the grills, you can see two indicated parking sensors. As a matter of fact, there are two more on either side of the car's front. We can also see an indicated headlight washer. Now here's a close-up of the headlights with the flash on. As you can see, the bulbs are actually there, but they're just not painted. We have the BMW logo up top. And then moving further up, we have a vent in the hood with a textured grille. We have windshield wipers indicated, and a windshield made out of clear plastic. Moving further up, the top of the car is kept in a gloss black. Here's a look at the car's truly futuristic side profile. This car is in a color known as crystal white and comes with contrasting frozen blue accenting. You'll also notice that Rastar made door window panels, which is actually quite rare when it comes to scale 124 coupes. Welly does make some scale 124 models with door window panels, but they're usually 4-door sedans. The car has 2 gas caps. One of them is actually a charging port for the electric motor up front, and the other one is a traditional fuel inlet located on the other side of the car's back. Now let's take a closer look at the rims. It appears to me that Rastar made a mistake when making this model car by making the wheels a little bit smaller than they're supposed to be in real life. In real life, these are 20-inch rims, and the car comes with 195/50 front tires and two 1540 rear ones. However, I'd say that Rastar did a good job on modeling the W-spoke aluminum rims. Despite being scale 124, Rastar also gave this car brake discs with indicated perforation, as well as brake calipers that are kept in black. Unfortunately, the brake discs do not move with the wheels, as I can show you right here. However, I am very happy with the amount of detail that these wheels have, because if you look at the BMW logo in the middle, it's lettered properly and nicely, and they just look nice. The back of the car is another angle that shows you just how utterly alien and futuristic the BMW i8 looks. We have the car name on the rear license plate, indicated parking sensors on either side of that on top of it. Furthermore, we have the BMW logo in the middle, over here. eDrive and i8 are also printed on the back of the car. An interesting thing you'll notice is that this car actually does not have any exhausts whatsoever. The real car, however, does have exhausts because it is not an all-electric car. However, the exhausts are so small that I am not too upset about Rastar not modeling them, especially because the exhaust tips are also black. There's a running gag when it comes to the BMW i8's back, and that is that it actually ate a Porsche 911 and is currently in the middle of either giving birth to it or getting rid of it by a more conventional means. It's one of those, when you've seen it, you cannot unsee it things. But it doesn't bother me at all. Here's an up-close view of the taillights. As you can see, Rastar made them out of plastic instead of just painting them onto the car body or something like that. However, the bottom ones are painted. Above the taillight, you can see that Rastar also made sure that the airflow channel is represented properly on the car, just like on the real one. And here's a look at the other taillight. Kept in red, just like on the real car. Moving up, we come to the rear windshield of the car. You can see the grille on both sides has the design replicated just like on the real BMW i8. This part does not open, unfortunately, but on the real car it would reveal a very tiny compartment to store luggage. The rear deck itself, of course, also provides a little bit more room for luggage. This car has butterfly doors that are more precisely known as dihedral doors. They open like this. Now let's move on to the interior, shall we? So when it comes to the interior, we actually have lots of detail for a scale 124. For starters, we have a two-tone interior. Above the center console, we have a heads-up display, complete with a sticker. You can see just how much detail Rastar put into replicating the dash, as well as all the buttons. You got your rear view mirror up there, a 6-speed automatic transmission, and we even have a cup holder. This is actually a 2+2 car that can hold 4 passengers. But it's a real nightmare for the passengers at the back to get in, get out, or even enjoy the ride unless they're small children. And now let's move on to the driver's side. What we have here is a 3-spoke rack and pinion steering wheel with a split spoke design at the bottom, as well as white accenting highlighting the circumference of the wheel. You've got the BMW logo on the steering wheel, which is great. And if you look at the instrument panel behind it, it's actually just a single sticker instead of any kind of raised dials, but keep in mind that on the car itself, on the real car, the entire instrument panel is essentially a single LCD screen. We do have the BMW logo on the screen as well, so that's also good. And you can see the floor pedals down there which are not painted, but this is a good thing because on the real car they're not painted either, so they're dark, just like on the real car. In fact, from here I can even read the sticker on the center console which says multimedia radio, telephone, and it even shows the time. I think it's 1808. So that's a nice amount of detail for a scale 124 Rastar, don't you think? And another nice thing that Rastar implemented is that the front wheels can swivel from side to side, and the steering corresponds with it. The real car, the BMW i8, has a price tag of approximately $150,000 retail. I think that has depreciated quite a bit by now, but at the end of the day, it is still quite a high price tag for a car that essentially can only travel for 37 kilometers on electric power alone, and is not even a true electric car, it is just a hybrid. So I understand that this car is one of those cars where you either love it or you hate it. It splits opinions a lot. There's people, for example, that all the Tesla fanboys who just keep trashing this car on a daily basis in the YouTube comment section. And I do agree with them that this car is more style over substance. However, when it comes to style, it really is breathtaking. Again, here when it comes to style, there's people who love it and hate it, and I happen to be in the category of the people who love it. To me, the Tesla Model S just looks like a normal sedan, whereas a BMW i8 is an absolute eye-catcher. As I mentioned earlier, it looks like a car from the 2030s. So it's just absolutely mind-blowing how visionary this car is in terms of looks. And the fact that it's not just a concept car, but a production vehicle that can be bought by anyone who can afford it, makes it all the better. Again, keep in mind that this car is actually half a decade or more old by now. So this isn't even a car that was released last year or something. And it still looks absolutely stunning. When it comes to the model car, you have a couple of options. As I said earlier, for the really small budget collectors, you can get the Kinsmart one for just a couple of dollars in scale 136. You can get this one in scale 124 by Rastar. Or if you are a scale 118 collector, you can get the one made by Paragon. The problem is that this particular color combination is quite hard to find. I've seen a Paragon model go for over 100 euros, and if you compare that with this scale 124, which sells for only 15 euros, because that's the price that I paid to get this, I think you can save a ton of money. What's also interesting about the 118 scale Paragon model is that the front trunk does not open at all, just the doors. So while overall it has more quality, including less manufacturing defects, it doesn't have much more on offer in terms of opening parts and things like that. Which is why I think that 15 euros for this scale 124 is a nice alternative to the 100 plus euro scale 118. Now this particular model of mine has trouble with the trunk opening, because when everything is screwed on, I cannot open the trunk. It's stuck for some reason. When I unscrewed the car the other day and removed the bottom part, I could actually open the trunk. So I took a picture, which you can see right here, and Rastar did give some detail to the trunk, but it is nothing really special. So my particular model has the problem that when I put the screws back on, I cannot open the trunk. And while we're at it, let's take a look at a couple of other flaws that this model of mine has. If you take a look at the C-pillar over here, you can see that it is not seamless. In fact, mine has the problem where it's not bolted on properly, because there's a peg underneath here and it doesn't close. One way to fix this would be to carefully put some super glue into this crevice and then press basically this pillar until it sits seamlessly, but because of the fact that the roof is so glossy, if I even manage to get one drop of super glue onto the roof, I cannot get rid of it and it'll completely ruin the look. So that's the reason why I didn't try to do this. Another flaw you can see here is that there's a small paint chip. The driver's side door has a little bit of problems when I try to open it and getting it closed as well. And as I mentioned earlier, the frunk doesn't open on my model. Another problem with the rear wheels is the fact that both of them are mounted on the same axle, which means they both turn at the same time. Here's a look at the car's underside. Not much to see here at all. Of course, we have the Rastar logo up here, Rastar Group. It says BMW i8, licensed by BMW, scale 124, and made in China. So I hope you guys liked my review of the scale 124 BMW i8 made by Rastar. And I'd appreciate it a lot if you guys subscribed and liked this video. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.
Make the ground shake.